let that one go for a little longer just because I was feeling
How
it.
did I immediately get salt on me? We
Oh,
just started with the salt, man.
I wanted to start with it so that we just knew kind of where we were. We didn't have to like question anything. We were just like, hey,
I
we're
agree
all on the same
that that's
page.
going to happen at some point in time. So,
Yeah.
it feels right.
Yeah,
It feels right.
I got giant posted notes for your saltness here. So very excited.
I'm
Very
gonna, I'm
excited.
gonna scooch over just a little bit and get myself centered spiritually, physically, and mentally.
Yeah, you don't want your left side to look bigger than your right side because then you're just going to look like disproportionate in terms of your strength, which we all know is a reality, but like you don't want to like broadcast it, right? So,
I mean, you know that you're in good health when you have one of these every day.
it doesn't even say Monday, Tuesday, Friday. It says just must take to live. Like that's just all it says.
This has literally morning, noon, evening, bed.
So, what's up, guys? We have a new guest today. We have the well-known, well-respected Goatboy, Thomas. What's up, buddy?
The bearded goat boy.
The bearded
Doing
goat.
pretty good.
The bearded goat, man. I'm super glad that you're on the stream today and just joining us and our excavation of what 9th edition means to everyone. And it's also just good to have a friend on here to make fun of Brad, and we can also make fun of Nick Rose together if Brad's feelings get hurt too much. So I think
it's an all beard podcast, by the way.
Yeah. Feels good not to have Robert on with his baby face.
Brad looking like the hunchback of GG over there. Love it.
I swear to God, Brad. Alex, we're gonna make a shirt. It's gonna be amazing. I'm gonna try not to get sued by Disney for being too much like the Hunchback, but we're gonna make like a Brad Hunchback GG shirt, and we're gonna get you one, and we're gonna have that somewhere. That has to happen.
I feel like we've got enough jokes on me right now that we could literally run an entire line of merchandise with just
like a
jokes
like
a
Brad, like a Brad Chester campaign. All proceeds go towards funeral arrangements, like something like that, right?
Oh,
God.
Corey coming in with an uppercut immediately.
Anyways,
I immediately
enough about
get
Brad.
wait, I thought Brittany Chester was Brad's beard.
Thomas,
Oh!
what's new? What's new, Thomas? What are your thoughts on 9th? We're trying to get some reactions.
I've played one game.
Okay.
And
so you're still in the hate it phase, aren't you?
No, I liked it.
Oh, okay.
Good. I like the fact that it is play the objectives, play the thing. Like killing doesn't matter. I got my ass beat up so bad by Sister's Exorcists, and I still won the game because I just controlled the objectives. He didn't get aggressive enough to come in towards the area, and I was like, "You lost by
so you've essentially skipped stage 1, which is denial and saying the game sucks and saying I'm not going to play on the table and I'm not going to do this and the missions suck. And all that. So you skipped that stage because you're a veteran. You went straight to the stage of killing doesn't matter. The next stage you're going to get to is killing does matter, and you need to take a very very resilient army. And then you're going to be like,
yes,
man, I'm going to play a super resilient army that just can't die and sit in objectives. And then you're going to get to stage 4, and you're going to realize that hybrid's probably a better approach than even that approach. So you're on your way. I'm really impressed. A lot of people with one game, hate the edition and think it's horrible. Like it takes like 10 games for people to be like, hey, this isn't that bad. So
the next question is, what are you painting? I want to know what you're painting. What are you getting ready for 9th?
He's probably painting Nick Rose's models right now.
What is Nick Rose getting ready for 9th?
The last thing I painted for myself, I finished off some custodes for my little custodes army that I had. And then
bananas.
Seems like a good idea.
I've got a lot of bikes. I finished off the Death Guard stuff. I have to go find defilers. That's about the only thing I'm thinking about for Death Guard. I have them somewhere.
How many? You have them somewhere. I was going to ask you how many do you need. Never mind. We're good.
I might need parts, but I have I somehow got a bunch of them at some point in time. I don't know why.
It's 4th edition.
Yeah. Oh yeah, exactly why.
Yeah, they were good.
I've got a really dumb Bloodthirster army. I kind of want to play really bad.
Hell yeah! I love everything about what you just said.
5 Bloodthirsters.
That's what I played in Sigmar. That's the exact.
What's that?
That's pretty much the exact list I was playing in Sigmar like a year and a half ago at the Michigan GT. I ran 5 Bloodthirsters. I ran the Forge World one. I ran the D-Thirster. I ran the unfeathered one, whatever, and the other. Like I ran every single variant. So I had like every variant, and then 1 duplicate. I think I had 2 of the guys with the aura power, so it was pretty sick. In Sigmar, they're gross, by the way.
Oh yeah. So I thought about finding those. I have to find those and be like, it's like, hey, guess what? I'm gonna come at you. You better deal with this. And then there's just nurglings everywhere.
Yeah. Bloodthirster is one of those models that always looks yoked, unlike Brad. But anyways, Daniel, what were you saying? You had a question as well?
No, I don't think I had a question, Alan.
I just want to insult Brad and then not give him a chance to respond. So I had no idea if you did or didn't have a question.
I love that the gentleman a question. And both Alan and I are currently logged. You know what? I'm gonna log in as Brad, so I can at least say Brad Chester as opposed to sounding like an insane person when I answer a question, and then immediately the next question is, why do Brad and Goatboy suck so bad at 40K? Like, apparently I have a lot of self-confidence issues right now. I typed it in. I don't know.
It's Bard. Why does Bard?
No, wait a minute. You know who that is? Wait, no, actually, Brad, that's funny because I didn't write that. And the only other person who has access is Tony Malave. So that must be Tony Malave right now writing that while we're on the stream.
Fantastic.
He's trolling you from the internet. I like it. That's good. He's trolling you with your own alias. It's like somehow he hacked your Facebook and he posted on there like, why can't I bench 300 anymore? What the hell happened?
Oh, we'll fight you try to say silly things like that.
Oh my God, that's funny.
It's me.
Okay, Daniel. Now I want you to make a question now, Daniel. It is me.
About
anything. What's your question, man? Why are you here? Are you asleep? Are you? When's your bedtime?
Okay, look, I demand this.
Like, you're just like a box on the screen. I'm like, yo, dude, you got anything to say? And you're like, nah, I'm good. I don't got anything to say.
I've got 2 orc players here, and I've got orc players in the stream here, in the chat. We want to talk about. I want to know, and I said I would talk a little bit about it. You guys, mech boy orcs, is it a thing?
Mech boy orcs, yeah, you can make a mech version of an orc army. Pretty fun one, actually. I don't know how competitive it is yet. I haven't really play tested it out. There is a really good army that I'll just say it. There's a really good army right now in the game that I think you could try, which would be like a Death Skulls Truck Boy spam. You could even potentially get Gazgul in if you wanted to. But I think Death Skulls would be the best mech spam.
Yeah, I think Death Skull is a must for that list.
Yeah,
I've been skissing on it as well and like looking at it.
Yeah, because you could take a weapon in the unit, in the 10-man unit, right, Daniel? And then you take a weapon on the truck, and you get a rerolls on all of that. That's pretty strong.
Yeah.
I mean, you 1 reroll per weapon, so you're just trying to spam multiple weapons.
Are you putting all the rollers on them and just running over people and using some draft dreads and shit?
The dreadnoughts are awesome. So a death dread, so an orc death dread is really, really good coming from reserves. Unfortunately, a Death Skulls one isn't the way I would like to play it. I'd rather play an Evil Sons death dread. But if you're playing a Death Skulls, mech based army, I think you don't necessarily need dreads. I think you could run mainly just truck boys and battle wagons, and you can contemplate whether or not you want to include Gaz for some extra punch. Because if you're already going with like a fun army, I think Gaz is a pretty fun model, and like fun in the game too. And I think Death Skulls is a good way to go with that. If you want to go with the dreads, I think Evil Sons is a better approach with dreads.
What about some Mega Knobs in that battle wagon?
Yeah, Mega Knobs are always good. Mega Knobs are good anywhere. Mega Knobs are good.
I refuse to talk about orcs and not put Mega Knobs in there because I think they're badass.
I think you need to bring Mega Knobs because you don't want to end up with giving away, bring it down, and also have a horde orc approach, because then you give away like 2 secondaries that are so obvious. So you need to bring that number down if you're bringing a lot of vehicles anyway.
Yeah, I think you spam vehicles though. I think you take if you're gonna take the vehicles, take a bunch so that your opponent is guaranteed gonna get the 15 on that. But you because you already know you're going for it, just take a million of them so that you don't have to worry about it. So.
What about if you're taking a bunch of vehicles and stuff like that? Would you stop at basically 12 victory points worth of vehicles, so your opponent just can never cap?
But you can't really do that, because
you can't really
if you're going with vehicles, you have to go all in. I think
you have to go all in, or you could take this guy.
Yeah.
You have to. I mean, if you're going to go vehicles, you might as well just go all in and say screw it. You're going to get 15, but I'll be all over the table.
I can see it. It's one of those things where I've been looking at a lot of like when I'm building the list, I try to make, giving my minimum that I need for everything. But then I also just try to limit my secondaries a little bit to make them so they're not so attractive to my opponent.
Yeah.
So when they're trying to pick stuff, they're like, well, I could probably get this, but it's max 12 or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
that's what I'm trying to do when I build lists. Therefore, I don't play orcs yet because I feel I give away secondaries too easily.
Yeah. Orcs give away the vehicle secondary regardless. I haven't made an orc list where you don't give that away. I don't think it's a big deal though because they make up for it by just being really, really good at the addition. I think having things like the jump are amazing. Having a +3 and a psychic power for a weird boy and just like putting a weird boy in the middle of the board and like going for the get the power off 3 times and you just auto get 15. That's like really, really good at +3. And then they have so many different ways of coming on the back end, getting the recon, getting the line breaker, 2 units in your opponent's deployment zone at the end of the turn for 4, stuff like that. It's like just so easy for orcs to do between commandos and the jump and the reserve strategies that you can do. There's a lot of ways to find 9 power level in reserve for 1 CP through multiple units to get them to come on.
I love Neil likes his list and he goes, screw being competitive. Just make race car noises all game.
That's that buggy army. A guy in Austin brought it to LVO, and he's like, if I go first, I just wreck you sometimes. And other times I just lose a lot. So whatever.
Yeah. The buggy army does actually have some. I mean it's definitely a fun army, but I think some buggies in like real lists have an actual practicality. I think the teleporting one now is really strong because like there's like a new strat in the Psychic Awakening. For 1 CP, it just auto teleports in the shooting phase.
Teleport.
So yeah, you roll for it on your turn. If you get a 4, you put it anywhere within 9, and you shoot a pretty good gun. It's like the best shooting orcs have. It hits on 3s, and it's I think it's D6 damage. I think it's strength 8, and like
that's like the last case.
Yeah, it's right, like basically. -2 rend, strength 8, 2 shots, and it hits on 3s, which is insane. So you like put it 9 inches away from something, you shoot that. It's got decent range too with the new board, so it's like I think it's 24, I believe. So it's like you're going to be able to shoot back end stuff with it, and it's D6 damage, and obviously you have Deka on that too. So 6s get more shots potentially, and with 3s being hits, you could get 3 realistic hits on something, causing 3d6 damage if you wound. And then in your shooting phase for 1 CP, you could just hide it back in your deployment zone. That mixed with like Burnham bombers, mixed with like other units that are coming from reserve, really create this like scenario where your opponent has to commit to mid-board and get these objectives, but they also have to somehow protect their backfield, and they can't leave characters open ever. Because if a character's ever open, doesn't even matter if it's behind obscuring. If it's not within 3 of anything or a vehicle, you're coming in from an angle and you're killing it. So it's really good.
Oh yeah.
See, I think that orcs have a lot of wacky new competitive lists, dudes. I think that like some of these are just you said were fun, but they also sound pretty viable to me.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, they're very different. I think there's some stuff too.
You
that's
brought
like,
your quotations fun list, and your opponent just got massacred, and he's like, "That wasn't fun."
Yeah, I
think. List, man.
I think like anything like right now, any COVID-based tournaments in your local area, unless like you're in a local area with like some of the great players that like we know about. If you're in like any other local area where you're not expecting like one of the top 25 players to be there, you can easily go undefeated at like a 3-round event with like a fun orc army because they just do things that no other army really does that like the way they do. They have so much redeploy ability, so they're kind of gross.
Movement, they can be anywhere they want to be, which is a lot of hard for a lot of armies to do, where you have consistent movement ability.
Yeah. Goatboy's spot on there. But I would say, though, that one difference between orcs and like some of the other stuff that you're going to see on the tabletop, like some of the Nurgle stuff that we've seen, I would say a lot of the Marine lists I've been seeing, orcs, you're going to have to really know how to play that army. Like you're going to have some reps. You're going to have to be a really good pilot of the list, understand the list in and out. You can't like get a list from somebody and like expect to do well with it. Your first or fifth or sixth time out. You really have to know it.
You could take like a box of models that somebody sent you and just try to make it work?
I mean, if you're a really good player, you could. If you're a really good player, you could. But if you're a scrub, you'll lose to Andrew Gagno in a game that's statistically impossible to lose. So, I mean, it just depends on
sadness.
Like how you rate yourself in the game. So I don't know.
somewhere above, but between neophyte and journeyman.
I'm gonna put my squig.
Now, I when it comes to orcs, I just find I lack all the models I need in 9.
It's a lot of models.
Excellent orc army in 8, but apparently I need new shit again.
You might get a bunch of different shit. Replying to Alex in here, he's talking about IG in this, and I think that a lot of the things that we're talking about with orcs actually apply to that. You need a different style of army, effectively. You need to make sure you have a lot of units. Guard actually terrifies me, just because of the fact that run exists, so you can literally just keep taking OPSEC units and just throwing them up. And
so good, and they're cheap. They're still cheap. Yeah, and they're still super cheap. For what they can do in the game, it's gross. Like if your opponent is pushing up, and a lot of armies I'm seeing are pushing up on those mid objectives with like resilient based units, and you're just like, oh cool, none of them are OPSEC. Awesome. Here's a guard squad that just ran twice. It's just really gross. So yeah, guard is really good. Tauroxes are just amazing. I'm loving Scions right now. I think they just got so many buffs.
Scions with a deep within 3 stratagem is so strong as well.
It's very good.
Just to take things away from the backfield. And
they have all of the special weapons.
Yeah.
You drop down and you go, hey, is that somebody trying to take an objective? Well, now you don't, because Plasma just shot you in the face.
No, IG is really good. They're just very different. They're just different in the sense that they're not like a static. You shouldn't be trying to make a static-based IG army where you're essentially building a castle around a unit of Bulgarian or Ogren or whatever. It's more of a mobility-based game now where you sacrifice pawns to slow down your opponent's scoring, meanwhile trying to get like really good flanking maneuvers on them as well, so that you're either shooting from units behind that have like lanes of fire open to them on the objectives, or you're coming from behind them with like reserves and like using Scions to drop in from the sky if you can. Deep striking is really tough though, because screening things out's easier now. So, but they're good. Really
exactly. Good. It's just like I said, it's a fast. Like I do like the movement. That's what I was most excited about. I was like, you got to go do stuff. You're not just sitting there holding in your backfield.
Yeah, it's almost
the best. You have to go do stuff.
I can see you.
It feels so much better with that. You have to engage. You have to do stuff.
100%. I can see Thomas playing a Seeker army. I really could. I could see you playing like a Slanesh, crazy fast.
I think I have 180 Slanesh Demonette army that basically just runs at the table.
Yeah,
and you can't escape it.
I could see you playing something like that. You've always.
I think I have 100.
Like those.
I have 120 painted.
Shit like that's legit now too, because you can like literally just grab a couple of their big shooting units, and just push up and just take the objectives. And even if you're getting tabled, who cares? Because by turn 4. They mathematically can't do anything. They can't score enough points.
Yeah, very good.
I think that's what happened in like our game. I was like, I'm already up by turn 4. It doesn't matter. You didn't get any points turn 5. The game is, or turn 4. The game is over. So at that point, it's just me running around and hoping I don't get shot.
Yeah, I think that's the one miss right now that I'm seeing with the game too. I mean, my games are getting closer and closer and closer, but like in the start, it was very much like, oh, you got nothing this turn because I stopped you and you didn't stop me. Oh, wow. Like the lead just got big. So it's like you're going to have to table me pretty quick to make up for it, or like really ensure that like I'm not getting points in the last 2 turns. So I've been seeing the same thing, Thomas.
Yeah, that's the scene. I think that's going to be the difference on players, is just understanding that as you give up something to score those points, that is more important than the fact that you just gave up something, and that a player being timid is not the way to go. So kind of like reminds me of some AOS stuff, which is not a very timid game in the way it's set up and going into it, and that's what it reminds me of. Where you're like, you have to come in, you know, it's not just about, you know, have to come in and smack and kill someone. It's like, no, I'm just gonna be aggressive and hold and get those objectives and get that stuff.
Yeah, it even feels like an AOS game. It even feels like an AOS game in the sense that like when the game's done, like so much is dead. And like, I remember ITC 8th edition.
It feels better to engage on it. The thing is that even if like winning games, it feels better if you're interacting, you're killing things, you're moving. You know what I mean? You're doing stuff with your opponent. Sitting back on one objective and having Iron Hand shoot you for 5 turns, it just, you know, that is 0 funds, no funds. Look at all of them. Both of those. One, I actually like that list a lot. Ripper Swarms and Max Zoanthrope actually sounds terrifying. Then Outrider of Orcs with Batten Supreme with Gaz. I actually like Gaz a lot. I'm not gonna lie. He's very, very tough. He looks amazing. And the thing is let's be honest, the rule of cool really throws down, dude. I mean, if you have a badass model that's going to look awesome on the board,
He's really fun.
it's pretty cool. Yeah.
It's like the one model I need to get, actually. I don't have that model. I got to get that model.
How do you not have that?
I just don't have it. I just don't have it. I just don't have it yet. I got to pick it up. I haven't picked it up.
I don't
yet.
understand. We're all confused in this now. Like, what is even going on here?
What?
I mean, let's be honest. Alan, you want to win, but you also live by the rule of cool. I bet Alan's like, I'm coming to the Toledo GT. I want to talk about the list that can win it for me.
I might put him in.
I sent him all these lists, and he's like, which one? I'm like, this does this. This will probably have the best things. And he's like, I 100% agree with you, Brad. And then I saw him 2 days later with 3 Lord of Skulls. And I go,
yeah, no, that White Scars list was that was a really good list. I liked it. And the Blood Angel one you wrote was really, really solid too. They're both really good armies. They're my style too. You wrote a list not only that was good, but also that like fit my play style, which was awesome. And then I did just show up with my own thing. Yeah, that's true.
I was just like, he's like, I started making these on Thursday. It's Saturday morning. Yeah, it's like, a 4-hour drive for me.
Yeah, what's up?
He's like, yeah.
Fully painted.
Also, they were painted really nicely.
I know. I got so many compliments. I was really excited. They're actually outside. They're in the garage right now because I can't fit anything else in this room anymore. All my shelves are full. So
here, I'm giving Thomas my question. Ready? The Brad Chester Invitational $10 million tournament is tomorrow. What do you bring? He hates this question.
Amazing answer. You did very good. It's so funny what you're bringing. It's just so good. I love it. Yeah, good job, Thomas. Yeah.
Y'all are jerks.
No,
three Lords of Salt.
We're just making fun of Brad.
Yeah.
Oh, what do you want to bring? You know what I mean? Seriously, like what you got an aggressive style.
What would you like? Bring? You had that Demonette idea. That was a good idea, actually. I like that.
Yeah, I think the Demonette. If I can get the pieces for the Demonette, or if I can get all the Bloodthirsters, I'd probably play the 5 Thirsters, 1 Lord Change, as many Nurglings as I can fit on the table, and be like, I'm coming to touch your butts. Let's go. Everything's exalted. I'm randomly rolling every exalted power. I don't care. Let's go.
I'm randomly rolling all my powers.
I love that you're randomly rolling them.
Listen, if there's a tournament,
if you pick it, you say you want to get the 2, you can double up on the exalted. So you roll 2 dice.
Oh wait, is it like a sisters thing? I didn't even know that. If you pick it, it's only 1, but if you roll it, it's 2.
So if you pick it, it's 1. You can roll 2.
Oh, okay, so it's like sisters. Awesome, cool. Yeah, I'll roll it every time. I roll it for sisters too. They have a strat that lets them roll again on one of them.
We have not talked about it, and Daniel owns all of them. That's why we haven't talked about them. Have we talked about Scarab Swarms yet? I go, we haven't talked about it because no one has any.
I have 5 Scarab Swarms right now. They're just chilling in a liquid-based substance, getting solidified in the garage. I'm really excited about them. I have a feeling they're going to mate. I have a feeling they're going to mate. That's all I'm saying. And I'm really pumped for their offspring, and I'm very excited. So
I think I have 100 Scarab bases. I actually saw someone on Facebook selling my Scarab bases.
They went to Daniel. Where are my grots? Where are my squigs, Daniel? Where are they? Show them.
They're up in the cupboard.
Thank God they're still alive.
In the orc section of my pile of models.
Keep them safe. Don't let them get COVID.
It's like
they're all fine.
Okay. Weird. My scarabs came solid.
Yeah. You have perfected. I remember in the dark days of Alan casting, Baramovich casting Inc.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I do like. What is the? I have to open this link up now.
Oh my God! It's a song contest. It's probably that dude.
Eurovision.
Yeah, it's Eurovision. It's probably Fire Saga. It's Fire Saga, 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
You watched that too?
Yeah, of course I watched that. It was amazing. But I love Brad's fucking attention span. He literally is a 3-year-old. It's like someone just puts something in there, and he just goes to it immediately. Imagine him in a corporate environment.
He's at the height of a 3-year-old, right?
Yeah, it's crazy.
You know.
Aren't we the same height?
Someone just. Oh, it's Jason. Okay, it's Jason. It's Snigs. Hey, Brad. Snigs just posted Fire Raptor Gate.
I remember those.
So good.
Hey, dude, Fire Raptors were not as good because Alan was making it rain Fire Raptors. Everybody was walking out of the tournament getting handed a Fire Raptor as their bonus prize.
I was a year too soon. The better part was still the fact that Alan destroyed all of his Orc guns right after WTC, and people were looking at him like he lost his fucking mind. They didn't know what to do. People are just like, "What are you doing?" Because he's just smashing the models on the ground. It was a funny time. But yeah, no. Anyways, Thomas, you're taking that. You said you're going to take that D-Minute list to the Brad Chester Invitational $1 billion tournament.
Yeah, I'll take it. It's so many models, and it's like, all right, let's go. And it moves up the table like a wave of people who touch you in the butt.
I think you actually did the best, Thomas. Oh, by the way, Brad, I did reach out to Thomas about that Lord of Skulls army for Toledo. So I had some input from Thomas on that. And you brought it to LVO. I think you did the best, too, out of everyone who brought Lord of Skulls.
I lost one game to Mr. Pullen because I forgot my guns were 48 inches.
Yeah, and Brian Pullen's really good. Yeah, he's really, really good player. So you forgot your guns are 48 inches. What was this, round one?
Yeah, round one. I played half the tournament thinking they were 36, and the guy goes, "No, they're 48." I
did that too. I've done that a million times. At ATC, when I played Dallas on Sean Naden and Andrew Gagno's team, I played the entire game. This was round 6 of a tournament where Nick Rose is yelling at me to leave. You're there, Thomas. And they're like, we need to go. And I'm playing Dallas on their team. And on turn 5, I think Naden or somebody's watching me roll my dice for my unit of bikes. What are those bikes called that you like, Brad? No, not Sear Console. The other ones. Shining Spears. And like, I'm rolling 2 shots per bike. And someone's like...
It's 4.
Yeah, they have 4 shots per bike. And the whole game, I was rolling 2 shots per bike on his whole Gene Stealer Cult army. And the whole tournament, I was rolling 2 shots per bike against everyone else. And it was like the most effective weapon I had in the game, and I just didn't realize that they had 4 shots. I've been shooting 2 the entire tournament. So I was so mad at the end of the game. I was just like rolling dice, not even caring. Like, let's just go.
By the way, I'm almost positive somebody just stole something from your house because somebody just came running by your windows. So I don't know what just happened.
We have package thieves, Amazon package thieves, but that's okay. We stone them later appropriately once they're caught.
Nick Rose is always upset at us, as for some reason or another. What's up,
Nick Rose is always upset, but he was the most upset in his rental car on the way to the airport when I had to go to the bathroom and they were late. Thomas is cracking up because he knows the story. So we're running super late, and there's 6 dudes in a car, and we're racing towards the airport because we have to go from Chattanooga to Atlanta. And I'm fine. I have plenty of time. I have like an hour and a half to catch my flight, or I think even more than that. But Nick's got like 35 minutes, and we're still like 10 minutes away from the airport. And I'm like, I gotta go to the bathroom. And Nick's like, I'm not stopping. So I had no real option other than to drink a beer that was sitting in the car.
A warm beer.
How hot was it? How hot was it, Thomas, that day?
It was like it was like in the 90s, and it was a warm beer.
So I had to chug the whole beer because he was driving so fast. I couldn't like open it up the window. I should have probably just opened the window and poured it out, but I wasn't thinking. So I chugged the whole beer, and then I relieved myself in the bottle on his front seat next to him in his rental car. And then when we got to the airport, we went through security together, and I reminded him that I didn't wash my hands. Like in the middle of security, I just kept touching his shirt and like just touching his shoulders and stuff, and he was all grossed out. He was just happy he was making his flight, so it was pretty funny.
You threw that pee bottle outside on the side.
I did.
Great.
Yeah, I did. I threw it out right away.
I think we were me and Bill, and we're like we're leaving the next day, so we had a nice little mandate. You know, had some Mexican food.
Yeah, you guys had a flight the next day. Yeah, you took the car after that. So I threw that bottle out for you, Thomas. I didn't want you to have to sit in that car
sit in the pee bottle.
Time. Yeah,
it was so good. I'm just laughing the entire time. Like, what is going on with this madness?
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Was it as dangerous of a ride as watching Three's Company in the front seat while driving at 100 miles an hour, like we're being in Grand Theft Auto?
No, that was definitely a better story. Yeah, that was getting Brad to the airport. That was the best.
I was for sure like gonna die. Also, we went from Alan was looking at stuff. He's like, because we had some time to spare, so we're just hanging out at his house. And he's like, we got plenty of time. And then he looks at his phone and goes, "You were never gonna make your plane."
No. It's Chicago, man. It's Chicago. So I looked at my phone. I checked traffic, and for me to get from my house to the airport, it was like 45 minutes, and you had a solid 3.5 hours. So I was like, all right, let's get a pizza. It's only 45 minutes to get there. So we get a pizza. I check again, the exact same directions. An hour later, right? You have 2 hours now to get to the airport. And instead of 45 minutes, it's like an hour and 50 minutes now to get to the airport. And I'm like, what the hell happened? So we took side streets the whole way, all the way to Midway, which is really far from my place. I live right by O'Hare. So it's like the other side of the city.
Dude, we literally I'm almost positive he's punking me because I'm pretty sure we took 73 right-hand turns. So he also...
I did take a lot of turns, yeah.
Yeah, we took a lot of turns. We were driving like we were being chased by someone trying to kill us. And the entire time, Alan has rigged the car so that he can play TV. So we were watching Three's Company.
Yeah, I got
on
TV
the TV in the dash, which is supposed to shut off while you drive, but not a chance here.
We watched 3 episodes of Three's Company, and you were
exactly.
there. You were there by the time I got through 3 episodes. So we beat the estimation on Google Maps by like 35 minutes. So it was pretty good. I was pretty impressed.
And you're still alive. And you're still alive, Brad. So for now.
The best part was when I think Brad said this, or this is my dream. I don't know. I think Brad was like, "Dude, you're gonna get pulled over. You're driving me really fast." And I'm like, "Pulled over? It's Chicago. They don't pull anyone over here." I'm just driving like 70 miles an hour down a 35.
In all of the lanes. Alan's just like, I go, this isn't a video game. I felt like he just didn't even have a steering wheel. He had an Xbox controller that he was driving.
I also put all the Swedes. Daniel, remember when I put you guys all in one car? That was fun.
Yeah.
Swedish sardine sandwich. Put like 6 Swedes in a Jeep Grand Cherokee, which like seems like a big car, but then you put 6 Swedes in it, and you're like, not that big actually.
No.
Stiggs brings up a bad memory on this. So we're at the end of day 1 of a 2-day tournament in Cincinnati, and I've been playing away from Stiggs the entire tournament. And we get in, I'm not really paying attention, and we start driving, and I start talking to Stiggs about my last game, and I look over, and he is clearly in a different universe of drunk, like both eyes going somewhere else.
I can't be outside right now.
Dude, and so we get to the restaurant. I'm just like, dude, pull over at literally anywhere, and I will now drive. He's like, yeah. I don't think I'm fine. Yeah, clearly, dude. Like, you astrally projected yourself to the restaurant. You're already there.
Oh, Brad.
Your body's back here.
Brad, James Rick posted, how did I travel that fast in Chicago with all the traffic? Would you like to answer that question, Brad?
He was like, basically, okay, again, have you ever played
every road with traffic? What did I do? What did I do on every road with traffic?
Just turn. Just go. You
got
were
off
like on
of it.
sidewalks. You were the wrong way. Turn lanes were just you going around things. Oncoming traffic. It was dangerous.
The light would turn red.
Kept playing.
The light would turn red, and I would like pull into a gas station, and then pull out of the gas station on the adjoining street, and then make a left to get back parallel with the previous street, and just go. Like there was no stopping.
I also literally looked at Alan and go, "I'm almost positive you're taking me somewhere to kill me because I have absolutely no idea where we are right now. We've made 100 turns." Like, you could just let me out, and I would be like, I guess this sucks.
This is where I live now.
I can't leave. GPS is like, I have no idea.
This is my new reality. No. So, Thomas, what's a cool model you painted recently? I haven't heard anything from Nick. Usually, I go by Nick's house around this time every year and see like a whole army you painted for him.
I wanted to. I would have
shelf.
probably tried to make a drive up there. I painted some Outriders. That's what I painted the other night, and then
oh, cool. What faction?
My own, aka whatever Marine I want it to be.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the best fraction.
The best. They're black with red arms, so that's what I did.
Okay, solid.
And then I've got to paint a bunch of knight parts.
Just parts? Not a knight, just parts.
Yeah. So like I have a client that I painted his knights for it, and so he wanted to upgrade more knights, so he sent me all the arms and guns. So I'm just painting arms and guns.
Got it. That makes more sense now than you just going, I'm only painting the parts of these knights.
Yeah, that's,
one shin, 2 guns, and a faceplate.
Yeah, that's definitely one issue. One issue with getting anything pro painted. If you want more stuff, you got to get it pro painted by the same person. Also, first world problem of winning GTs that I can cry about, where you win like a portion of an army. But then like, how are you going to play that army? Because you're going to have to paint up the rest of it, and it's way better than anything I can paint. So I'm like just staring at it. Like, I guess you go in a glass case for now, and I just feel horrible about never playing with you. Oh man.
Oh yeah.
So sad.
Yeah. Every time you win something like crazy, you're like, I'm not gonna play this.
Yeah.
So.
Tournament organizers out there, when COVID is done, do 2 things. A, reach out to the boys on the East Coast, figure out how to do prize support because they're doing the right thing. B, if you're giving away painted anything, I don't know how much
give
away 2,000
I had
points.
to turn back into Daryl because of that. You just go, hey, look, more AdMech Vanguard guys. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Seriously, like reach out to the boys or Bill Kim out of Michigan GT. They're really doing prize support very, very, very well. Like very good. If you're giving away a full army, like try to give away 2,000 points worth of it if you can. If not, then don't bother. Just give away product.
I do like the Du Bois though, because when you do the other prizes, they literally let you just walk up to the table and just take something you want.
Yeah,
they have that big L table of prize support.
Dude, last time they changed it, Brad.
What's up, Chris?
The last time I was there for Age of Sigmar with Rose won the overall tournament, I think. Actually, I know for a fact he did because he won the Orc Shootout that I was super jealous about. They just give you a card with like fake money, like you're just like $600, whatever the card is, right? And there's a store in the corner. You can just go use the card, buy whatever you want. Just literally pick anything you want for that money. I was like, that's amazing.
Talking about tournaments, how's the tournament scene in the States now? Are you getting any tournaments at all?
It's hibernating.
It's small. No, but we're getting some. We're getting RTTs have started to come out of the woodwork. They just don't come out of the woodwork where Alan is because he's extra locked down.
I think I'm going to one. I'm going to go to one in Ohio if I can. I'm looking into like the COVID like rules, but I can definitely quarantine myself when I come back. So I'm looking to go to Ohio by Brad. When is that, Brad? What date is
September.
that? September what?
19th-ish, 57th.
Okay, September 19th, 57th. Dude,
Texas is on fire and people are crazy. So they're running some in San Antonio, but San Antonio is the epicenter of not smart people in Texas. I know Houston's running some.
I really like San Antonio though. It's beautiful.
Oh, I like San Antonio because the food is good, but like it is the exact type of populace that this virus is going to destroy. So
are they like really fat and diabetic or something? What are you trying to say? I'm confused.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Okay. Got it.
So it's a
cigarette in their hand, weighing 400 pounds.
Yeah, it is not the healthiest. Like Austin has done okay.
This is where Daniel's like, isn't that just America? Like, why are you targeting San Antonio right now? That's kind of rude.
Texas and Florida is pretty bad.
Yes. You guys. Well,
no, I mean just about being fat and diabetic. That's all.
Florida literally went, "Hey man, we got a pandemic. Woo! Let's party! Get giant gatherings."
There was a Florida man. There was a Florida man story. Shit, what was that story?
They literally looked down the list and went, "Okay, I've got everything we're not supposed to do. We can do it all today. Let's go." Check.
It's bad. They fought people fighting people with masks the entire time. Not being like as soon as they open restaurants fully filled here in Texas. It's pretty. You're like I don't understand. Just be a little smart. I just pick up food if I have to, and booze. They give out booze now. You can go pick up booze.
Yeah, they closed a lot of stuff by us. So like all the restaurants, they're like super separating out all the tables. If you're a bar that doesn't serve like a reasonable menu, like a kitchen, if you don't have a full kitchen. And you're like just closed completely internal. You can only have customers on a patio, if you have a patio, and then you have to still keep people separated on the patio too. So it's still pretty extreme in Chicagoland, for the most, from what I've seen so far in the places I've gone. But I've been pretty much quarantining myself for the most part, anyways. So just don't want to get my parents sick. So, but anyways,
we don't see any, like I pretty much we do 2 weeks on work, 2 weeks off work. So I'm 2 weeks at home, 2 weeks at work. And it's flipped around to like half of that. So the majority of the people at work have medical things.
See, we've got enough space in our local. I'm super psyched up for getting small tournaments going because we have enough space where we could literally do every other table kind of thing. You know what I mean? Where you're fairly far away from everybody. You can get a good 20+ person tournament, but everybody's away from everybody.
Yeah, the problem is the establishment doesn't want to take on the risk. That's the issue. Like it's hard to convince. Like they're not really getting anything out of it. Like the store organizers aren't going to get like a reasonable amount of return by throwing a small tournament. So like I haven't met a store organizer who's like, yeah, I'm really excited to just get like the tournament scene going. You know, they usually think in the perspective of like, I have to give away space in my place to have something going on. What's my revenue gain? How am I making money off this? And like, unfortunately, that's
purchase things to go to the tournament though, because it's still, you know, you got to have those models there, so people are going to purchase shit. So
yeah, I think it depends on the area. Like by us, a lot of people around here who go to tournaments have so many models. But yeah, I hear you.
We have a small tournament scene starting. So we had 6 small tournaments last weekend, spread around Sweden. But it was like, 18 to 24 people basically.
Isn't that like a big tournament for you guys?
I really want to get into the competitive mindset. When I don't have a tournament to go to, I can just play around with, crappy units because it's fun to play against friends. But I want to get back into that competitive mindset where you harden your list after every game and work through everything and nail the small details in the list to make it tournament ready. So my plan is to start a small tournament scene in Stockholm to have a 24 to 30 man tournament every month going forward. So.
Man, you're getting Daniel's getting super serious. Yeah. I want to hear more about this, Daniel. We've spoken how you will tell me more about it later. That's supposed to be cryptic.
Yeah. So. No, I'm gonna tell you more about it. It's like I want to start a WTC circuit basically. Cool. So we play the latest stuff we get from WTC every month to really be on top of those missions, of those terrain maps, on everything, and play that through really well. So that's the plan, to have one each month. Also, the revenue that comes from that the surplus revenue that comes from those tournaments will go to the team. So I got sponsoring things for the team to get better shirts, jerseys, and dice and stuff.
These jerseys?
Yeah, not bad. Sometimes we show up with really boring jerseys, and I think it's a fun part of the ETC to have.
Yeah, you should get someone creative. I don't know, someone who has creative ideas. You should figure out if you have a friend who's creative and knows things and is pretty good at that kind of stuff. And who's willing to help out and be a part of the team. I don't know if you have one, but if you do, you should reach out to them.
Yeah,
dude, I'm super down with that, Daniel. Send me. Do you have a schedule yet of what you want to do, or just whatever is released you're just doing?
No, right now I'm talking to one of the local store owners here, where we have the sort of biggest gaming club to get the scene going, and I don't know exactly how I want to form it yet, but I'm thinking about having the latest WTC info that we have now on the next tournament, which would be.
I prefer that anyways, so let me know. I'm willing to try to get that moving here too.
Honestly, the WTC packet, I read it over a couple days ago. I found it on the internet, and the terrain is, I think, spot on. I think it's really, really good. Yeah. I've been playing with less than that terrain, and I think adding more is really good. I mean, some of those boards have 12 pieces of terrain, but they're positioned really well. They have no footprint, so I got to change some of that stuff around on my stuff because the footprint is a real big deal. Or just play it a different way, just have house rules basically on how we interpret it, whether you're in the terrain or not in the terrain. But yeah, I really like the train setup for the missions. It's really, really good. Yeah. So if any of you guys watching this haven't seen it yet, we'll probably put it in the comments section of this video, a link to it or an area to find it, and you guys can check it out. I highly recommend using the terrain setup for your even for your home games, even your casual games.
Neil, link.
Is Neil watching? Neil, link now. Thank you, sir. You're the best. And we will actually.
I think it's both a really good way for the Swedish team to get well versed with the setup and the terrain and the missions. But I also think it's a good way to contribute to the WTC, that we actually play their stuff and get good feedback loops going back to them on changes and stuff.
Yeah, agreed. And we're gonna have Neil on the podcast, Daniel, next week. So I've been talking to him already. we have some stuff planned, so we'll have him on here. But I want to get from Thomas. Thomas, what I know you only have one game, and I know you probably maybe haven't read through the rules in like its entirety. But I wanted to ask you what are you excited about for the new edition? Like, what about Ninth makes you excited?
That movement's important again. That's much more. I'm a very aggressive player, so the first 2 or 3 turns are usually what I find where I get most of my work getting done. And this edition feels much more pushing towards that, whether it's you go toward first, or you counterattack back again. So I like that aspect of it. I like that removing some of the castling aspects, which I think it was really boring in 8th edition.
Yeah.
I mean, was it as bad as Death Star nonsense? No, but it was just kind of boring.
Yeah.
So I find that returning to these games where sometimes you feel like you can outplay an opponent by just playing the mission, which I used to do a lot of times back in the olden days of 4th and 5th and stuff like that.
Yeah, you won Adepticon that way. You won Adepticon that way. When I remember I played you that year, and you just literally had a list that just was designed to play those Adepticon missions so well. You walked away with that sword that year. That was sick.
The hammer. Back here.
Yeah, that was awesome. It was a really, really, really big deal. So yeah, no, I think all of us would agree. Ditto 100% of the movement.
I think terrain is better in a sense too now that we having classes for terrain, and then as we start playing and figuring out what the classes need to be and what kind of stuff we need on a table or how we would like it, I think that's important because that way, one, you can since you have these flat classes, you can have your terrain that might not necessarily match the class, but you can give those keywords to it. And all of a sudden, it kind of matches the terrain. Yep.
You should definitely check out the WTC packet then, because they have some really cool ways of putting the terrain on the board, what types of terrain to have in the mission, how to have diverse terrain in terms of height, size, type, all the benefits and the traits on top of that. So I've been doing posted cards. So like my board back here just has like a ruin, and I literally have like a posted card on like what we're calling it for the game. But like I'm gonna make that a little bit better in the future. But
I think that's the big thing. When we start as we start playing this competitive more, we're going to start seeing terrain start to match up. Everything they've done a much better job of really forcing what they want terrain to do. Yeah. So now you'll start seeing people say, okay, we need to have these pieces and this pieces and this pieces, and you start. Which I'm going to guess WTC is like, let's try to actually create these, flat table types. Kind of like I guess ITC did that too. What they're saying, these are the tables should be like the first 100, but a much broader range, which I think is probably better.
Yeah, WTC is trying to make a spectrum because it's a team event, but I think if you take the middles of that spectrum and you use that universally at a tournament, it's really solid.
100%, man. It just feels so strong when you get a table with a really good symmetrical setup where you have basically where you can interact with terrain. You have line of sight blocking, you have difficult terrain, you've got dense terrain where you're getting -1 to shoot. You know what I mean? You have every option. I think a lot of people don't realize that half the things they consider ruins are actually just ruined walls.
Yeah, the ruined walls.
Exactly. That's one of the misses I think as well that we need to start play with because it has interesting other rules, right?
Yeah, because it's dead, but it's got 2 inches in. You can attack through that wall, so that's a big deal for it. It helps actually non-infantry armies. You know what I mean? But those are all over the place. Ruined walls are most of the things that people say are ruins. They're literally. You look at the example of them. That's a ruined wall, and it has its own things.
Yeah, and while I really like the WTC the Ruin Pack, I think it's the best one we currently have because I don't actually know if we have another one, but it is very, very good. I have a little bit of a different opinion too. I'm curious what you guys think about it, especially Brad, especially you, Brad, because I think you may or may not agree with me. I'm not sure. I don't know how familiar you are with this, Daniel, and I know exactly what Thomas is going to say, but I'm curious if I'm right. What do you guys think about just having, let's say, for example, you just have 8 pieces of terrain, right? Two of this type, 2 of that type, 2 of that type, and then 1 of this one, 1 of this one, let's just say, right? And you have a very, very wide variety, but you have basically, you're covering everything, either in a pair or as a single, depending on what type of terrain it is. And then it's player placed.
I like that.
We do a lot of player placed already in the Midwest, so.
Yeah, I like the tactical aspect of player placed because that way you could build a shooting army if you want to, and you can place stuff to lock down other pieces of terrain so you get a more open center, or if you're playing an assault army, you could build the launch pods you want and stuff. So I think it could be cool. That's
That's been
not, maybe
I've
not
had
always.
many an argument with people about that because we've done it for a while. This area basically does a lot of player place terrain, and I'm totally because I think it's just one more thing that you do.
Yeah.
You have to put a little bit more rules on it so you're not smashing everything together. Or you might actually tell you the truth. I really like player place terrain, but I've thought about this for a while. I would prefer to have X amount of pieces that can only be in any quarter. You know what I mean? So
sure. Yeah. Sure.
Player placing,
so
but every quarter
so you can't
has
make
to
a
be
barren area.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
that's fine.
You basically can make something open in the middle by your first placement, but each quarter has to have X amounts.
So the reason why I brought it up, Brad, is because of your comment before on having a very symmetrical board. It's actually one of the things I hate the most about 40K. The idea that you have to have every side of the board is the exact same. So like when we pick deployment sides, it doesn't matter. Like almost all the time, it doesn't matter because like the terrain is the exact same. And I feel like that just defeats the entire purpose of the game. So I think having to set up the board and then pick a side is so huge because you know me. I mean, Brad knows how I play. Whenever I can place objectives or place terrain, I'm all in. So like if there's 6 objectives, I'm placing 3, you're placing 3, and you place the first one, you better believe 4 objectives are on that side. Like that's just gonna happen, right? Like 100%. I don't care. I'm all in, bro. I'm all in. And depending on my army, I'm going to roll for that dice. And if I get it, I'm either going to want to be on that side to start off, or I'm going to want to push to that side. I know that's not a thing anymore in 9th because the objectives are set right now. But if we had the ability to place the terrain, I could at least do some shenanigans with that and create somewhat of an open area, Brad. Because right now, when everything's the exact same, there's really no benefit to choosing side. It kind of makes things very much corporate 40K. So I kind of knew where Daniel was going to go. But Thomas, what did you think? I didn't get your opinion on it.
So like I said, I'm really sad about missing objective placement because I thought that was a lot of how to choose in the flow of the game. So losing that, and I kind of like the idea of placing terrain. My only worry is just time. It's always just time on it. I mean, I play aggressive army, so I really, I just try to block lines and try to block shooting lines, and I'm coming at you. So, I mean, I played them both ways, and I've enjoyed playing it either way. I can dock it or not dock it. I can whatever. I think I don't know if 8th is going to be able to do the place terrain because if they want a lot of terrain on that table.
You mean 9th? Yeah.
I'm sorry, 9th.
Yeah,
because they want isn't like one piece every 12 by 12 square is what they want, basically.
I mean, their sample tables and everything they've shown are very, very heavy, but I think they want people to be using all the rules effectively. I actually think that in my opinion, just as far as like things that I played a lot of games with a lot of different terrain setups because we tried to mimic LVO, ETC, Nova, whatever, all the terrain setups when we were playing. But we try to right now. I think that if you have basically 2 pieces that have the keyword obscure, 2 types of ruined walls, and then things that are dense with difficult terrain, so you have a negative for all those, so you get movement penalties and stuff like that. A nice mix of terrain it feels a lot better because you're also using so many different rules.
For sure.
So there's. You can do different things. You can overwatch something because you're +1, or you get +1 to fight. You get -1 to here. It's just I don't know.
My concern though, Brad.
I think.
Go ahead, Daniel.
I think one problem we're having when we're building boards is that we only have 8th edition compatible terrain, which means we only have ruins, L-shaped walls, and -2 to charge.
Yeah,
I mean, and now there's a lot of stuff like armored containers, super interesting rules that you can interact with, and you get plus armor saves and stuff, and So we need some new terrain. Probably.
Have you guys looked at some of the terrain rules for some of the crazy stuff, like the imperial statues and stuff like that?
Yeah,
they are actually pretty interesting.
They're really cool.
I mean, they have different rules for all of those, and they're not just specialist things. They're literal in the rules book. Rules that you can put in the terrain.
The question is for a competitive event, how many terrain pieces do you want to lock it down to on a table? I mean, are we going to? I think we're going to start seeing every event with a little piece of paper packet laminated says this is what the terrain does.
Yeah, I think so too. I think
We do
10.
cards right now.
I
We
think
do
10
cards.
is 10 is a good fit. I think right now 10 reasonable sized. I think like two double floor ruins or triple floor ruins, multiple leveled ruins, 2 of them, 2 smaller ruins like in an L that are like maybe wider but like only 1 level. I think 2 like forest kind of areas, and then like so that's 6 right there. You've already got 6. And then I think you have a lot of options for the remainder because there's a lot of additional things. I don't think buildings should be in it where you have like an actual building with special rules for like a competitive game. I think those are more.
Can't go in and out.
Yeah, I think those are more.
That's
more for.
That's
fun
what we
play.
did. I think we're doing for our turn when we were building terrain. That didn't happen, obviously. We had all enclosed, locked-in buildings, so they were a building shape. You just couldn't go in. And
I'm
so
fine
they
with
had
that.
they had courtyards in there, so you can go in like the courtyard, but the building itself, no, there's no going in there because we hated the idea of magic boxes.
Magic boxes.
Yeah, I would
That was
get
still
rid
my
of
favorite
I would get
is
rid of
when we were
magic
trying to
boxes
figure out.
entirely. I would get
Were
rid
you
of them
there for that one,
entirely
Alex?
because I was but I would get rid of them entirely because they take up too much surface area now on the board, especially the Frontline Gaming one. This one, it's like gigantic.
Just-
This thing is huge.
I have to wait for the delay, and then I'll answer.
What happened? I don't know what I did.
Yeah, I don't see you, so I'm sure it's huge.
That's what she said.
No,
Um,
we went the first year that he had the magic boxes. I couldn't figure out why all the West Coasters were running all these like random Blood Angels lists and
Yeah,
stuff.
they just go inside
all these-
magic boxes and
And
come
we're
out
like, I don't
freaking
understand what
nuke
they're going to
people.
do. And you're like, okay, here's the ruling on how these pieces of terrain work. Infantry can go inside, can't be shot. You don't actually have to put them inside there. They just count as being inside. I'm like, oh, this makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
If I can't shoot you or interact with you, this army seems a lot better. You can't assault
Yeah.
me.
It's
You're not allowed to shoot at me,
totally
but I
different
can
meta,
jump out and assault you.
Yeah,
Well, that seems good.
Yeah, it's really bad. Yeah. But I think a 9th fixed that though with obscuring terrain. I think 9th fixed that in a lot of really good ways. I think so.
Ooh.
I think we're.
This is Neil's got a good question, and I have a pretty strong opinion on this, but I'll ask you guys right now. Opinions on fortifications. Hearing stories about people spamming certain ones
one
to
max.
block out the board.
Yeah, one unit of fortifications max, and there should only be certain exceptions where you're able to take more. I think the Nurgle tree is like one of those fortifications where you should be allowed to take more if you want to, because they're smaller and they don't like block. Unfortunately, I don't know how tournament organizers are going to do it. I mean, you're probably going to have to limit it to one with no exceptions, but yeah, you can't spam them. It's too rough.
We talked about the sisters big building with the statue, and that thing is so big, and you're like, you can take 3 for 150 points. You're like,
Yeah.
oh goddamn, F you. You know,
Well, this
it
game,
like covers the entire table.
I mean, think about playing with the new amount of the smaller board, the new amount of terrain, and I now just put a Fortress of Redemption on the board.
Seems like a death thing to do.
do you remember that one?
Yeah.
Do you remember that one thing that killed the Fortress of Redemption with bolters? From do you remember that year?
Yep.
Just rolling bolters.
Yeah. So, Thomas, anything that you think was a missed opportunity with 9th, based on what you've seen so far? Did they miss anything you were hoping that they would address, or change anything you were hoping they would change, or like even outside of the rules, like the way they released it? Anything that you think they could have done better?
I think some of the secondaries need to be tweaked a bit. I think there's some weakness in there. I hope that when we see the codexes come out, we see better specific secondaries. I don't like the leaked marine one. I think that's overly complicated for a secondary. But I think some pushes in that. I want to see objectives that players can place and move around. I think that's something that's always been a important kind of skill factor. There's this bluffing aspect involved in it where you put an objective to have it go somewhere. I think those are the two kind of big things from a mission standpoint.
I think those are really good, valid points. Yeah, I think I would agree with both of them. I do misplace. I've always been a fan of player placed objectives, player placed terrain, so I agree with that 100%. And I think Brad has mentioned a million times that he just loves the secondaries. He thinks they're perfect. And I told him he's crazy. I said, "You're nuts, Brad."
Was he taking his pills?
I was like, these secondaries are really hard to achieve, and they're not fun, and and some of them don't even get you all the points. So like, why would I ever take them? So
and that's the thing. I mean, I was like, all objectives secondary should give the same amount of points, so that way you can take anything. So you could take the ones that might be harder, but get you all the points right away. That's an important factor because that's whatever factor set. But you're saying this one that's extremely hard, and I got 10 points. You're like,
kill the warlord.
Yeah, like
kill the
why would
warlord.
I ever
Kill the warlord's a great one because like everyone just gives you their warlord to kill, right? Like in the beginning of the game.
Yeah, but it gives 13 points in turn 1, 10 in turn 2.
Okay, well, what you don't know. Okay, Daniel, what you don't realize.
I put my warlord in reserve.
What you don't realize is Deathwatch is going to have a new stratagem in their new codex that says pay 3 CP before the game starts and your opponent's warlord is dead.
Automatically, it's going to be a bummer when you bring in like Mortarion
and their codex specific one is if you pick Slay the Warlord and kill them in pregame, you refund all your CP plus you get 15 victory points.
Above and beyond the primary, so you can get 60 instead of 45.
That's the leak I saw. It was on Blood of Kittens. Story checks out. So
I saw it on I saw it on Stellix site. I go there frequently.
I
was a little bit upset with primaries actually for a while because I missed the end game scoring primaries. But now when I played more, that sort of forces you to interact in the game. So I'm not sure I want the end game primaries back actually.
Welcome to stage 4 of 9th edition. Congratulations on your entry to stage 4. Get ready for stage 5. It's quite a doozy. You start to play this thing called a balanced army. It's really interesting. You're gonna love it.
I'm with you too. Like I thought that then as I played, I was like, no, I think these are fine. The primary is where we need to be. It's those god dang secondaries, and I think we should get more points for a painted army, like 15 or 20.
It says the painter.
Well,
I mean, I don't even understand why the game has that rule. 10 points for painting, like first of all, it's a meaningless amount of points. Second of all, any tournament that wants to award painting usually has it as like 33% of the overall score, and there's an overall award, or it's 50% of your score, and it's called a Renaissance Man score.
No,
so,
but I actually think what happens.
No, but I mean, every tournament will say you don't show up with unpainted models, right?
Yeah.
Well, I hope so.
I actually think GW went to a lot of these big tournaments and saw people with like super minimum.
But why would they stop that? Why would they stop? I guarantee you tournaments are still going to have a 3-color standard. I guarantee it.
Sure, but I'm saying I think that the tournaments themselves will just raise the bar a little bit so people don't bring, a black model with a red eye and a blue eye kind of thing. They'll up the game.
I think ITC is already up that from an ITC standpoint. But even then, like the armies that I'm seeing are still just like spray painted one color and then either spray painted another color to create like a flare or like airbrush another color to create a flare. And then like they color like one shoulder pad. And that's like their Marine army, right? Like I've still seen like 1 million of those at LVO this year.
I think they can. So what it is, it allows people to come play this event with an unpainted army that they just bought and snap fit together and still play in it. And they now have they're sitting there saying it's like you'll lose 50 points, but you get a chance to have fun and whatever, play your games. So that's all they're trying to do is try to remove some of the inclusiveness because we know a lot of times winning the overall, you only had to have a painted army, right? Mm-hmm. So that's probably part of it. I mean, every tournament is going to end up having the GW, paint requirements if GW is going to sponsor it.
See, I'm really big on the thing of Daniel brought this up a couple different times. Your thoughts on the prize support, basically, and how we do it, because the people that are trying to get, max, they're trying to get the War Master type thing, are completely happy with their rank and their sword, their trophy, their axe, their whatever. And that the person that gets the overall should be getting the lion's share of the prize support. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because they're putting in more time, more effort, more money, more everything with their army. And he made a good point that, the most of the competitive players, that are really focused on their ranking and everything else are totally okay with that because we understand that person, spent more time than I did. You know what I mean? And of course I did. And I made Jason do it because, well, he's a good guy and I'm a bad guy. So it works out.
Yeah, I think we talked about that. And I think overall definitely is where I was at. Where are you at with that, Daniel?
Me? No. I think it's a great idea. I mean, I know people that spend hundreds of hours painting, and I try to get away as fast and cheap as possible, So I am totally fine with them getting the vast majority of the price support. as long as I get my ranking points and some kind of trophy that says I came first.
Daniel's,
I'm super happy
hey
with that.
Daniel, you're a good guy. Congratulations. Here's your award.
I usually always preferred winning the overall and then anything else. I would always. That's what I always.
A lot of the old schoolers are still in that mindset, Thomas. Yeah, I think a lot of the people who are like, been playing since like 3rd edition are still like overall is the best thing. But I think a lot of the newer generations are thinking that it's all about ITC points and winning ITC and battle.
But it just take multiple skills to win the overall.
Yeah, but ITC is, I don't know if is that really going to be around anymore, or a version of it's going to be different.
I assume it'll be the same thing. I don't see why it would change. I mean, just once COVID has to run its course, and then I would assume ITC would be back. Once COVID's done.
What do you think if GW is going to run its own kind of like tournament system again?
There's nothing to stop Stats Center and Reese and them from just
they're already doing
results.
that with that's Brant Steele. That's his little title is Tournament Big Dick Badass Motherfucker.
Yeah, but let's look back at GW's success rate of creating an application. They're not going to beat Best Coast pairings. They're not going to beat Best Coast pairings. If every single brain in that entire company got together, they're not going to beat Best Coast pairings in terms of creating an application because they just don't know what they're doing. So yeah, it's just not going to happen. So I think they're going to still use Best Coast pairings for all their tournaments, including the ones run by Games Workshop. I'd be shocked if they don't.
Well, I mean, I played, I did the only North American GW one that I won. They did use Best Coast pairings on the back end.
There you go. See, and they'll do it again. They'll probably license it from them. And if I was Best Coast pairings, I'd be charging some money there to make that work. Right? Just go figure out what consultants charge that.
I mean, it's one of those things that's just, and I mean, I have hopes that the app will eventually be interesting. But we'll see.
Yeah, that's cool. Sounds good. I have hopes too. I will win the lottery one day. I was also curious on. Neil, you had a comment. Neil, you had a comment as well. Neil, you are 100% correct. Neil, everyone that I've seen, all the tournament organizers that I've seen, I think ETC is pretty good about it because it's a team, so no one wants to like let down their team. But yeah, list submission is a shit show. And it was funny. LVO is like, hey, your lists are due on this date, but if you don't get them to us, you get a yellow card. And then everyone went to figure out what a yellow card does. And essentially, yellow card does this. So they were like, oh, so yellow card does nothing. So I can just not submit a list, get slapped on the wrist, and then submit a list like the day before the event, see everyone else's army, and I just get one yellow card. And yeah, I'm at risk now. If I get another yellow card, I'm out. But as long as I just play normally, I won't get another yellow card. So that wasn't really a good, like, to try to penalize people is not the way to go. And Neil's 100% correct in the comments he wrote. Instead of penalizing people for army list submission, we should give people points for submitting an army list on time with no errors. Yeah, 100% agree. And give them a lot of points. Gives them a lot of points.
I don't know if we've ever done that. I mean, we came close once, I think.
I think you should do that. I think you should give them like a whole game's worth of points. Like one win. They just got to win automatically on a game. So like they can lose a round and they still battle points wise have like enough points to like make up for that loss. It gets into a mathematical win if they have enough points. I would do that. I would do something significant. So
I think that's okay as long as you don't use the formatting from ETC. Because it's a nightmare.
I was just about to say, yes, it is very difficult to make a list. Our lists are legal, but not in that format.
Also clarify like how good it has to be. Like if they forgot to put a colon somewhere, I think you can let it go and give them the points, right? If they forgot some points or the name of a war gear item, then that's different. But yeah.
I'm gonna start sending Battle Scribe with the full summary of every unit and every weapon as my list. I'm gonna be that guy.
You won't get any points then because that's horrible. That's like the worst list. I hate when I get
dude. If somebody hands me one of those, I literally just throw it aside.
No, Daniel got that. Daniel literally got that list at Adepticon. He got that list at Adepticon from a guy. He's like, "What the fuck?" He just threw it. He just literally just chucked it to the side. He's like, done with
those,
it.
like the 6 pages. Like, why did you do this? Why did you do this to me?
Anybody that does that either doesn't know what the fuck's going on or is trying to fuck with you. So that you don't know what's in their list because you're just like, I'm not willing to read through your first draft novel that you just gave me. So
strategy acquired. Make my list illegible for Brad Chester.
Well, do you remember? But do you remember those old players used to do the list, and there would be a single thing, and it would be written so bad, you're like, I don't know what any of this is, or they have. That used to be the thing where it's like, what did you just write on this? Or it's chicken scratch on a piece of paper. We had one on a receipt because he hacked a receipt thing. And I was like a receipt, and I was like, I don't know what the hell this is.
Yeah, I used to be one of those people, Thomas. I used to hand scribe my.
I still am one of those people.
we had to fix Commando's list.
I actually remember.
I scribbled down on a piece of paper.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, and like, hey, here's my list. Here's my list, bro. I remember a GW conference at Adepticon like 5 years ago or 6 years ago, and someone literally asked about like an army builder type of application to build army lists, and like the guy from Games Workshop from the UK is like, what do you guys? What do you mean? You don't just use a paper and pencil? Like, and everyone in the room is like, what decade are you from, man? Like, we're using Excel, we're using BattleScribe, we're using all these other things like Lone Wolf stuff. And this guy like had no clue. He was like, oh my God, I just use a pencil and paper. It's pretty funny. It's just total miss on his part on how to make.
That's why we like to put the points in one book and the model in the other, and the other points in another book.
Yeah. We make it. We're trying to make it easy for you guys. Come on, man.
I left a clue at the convenience store where you have to go next.
But by the way, for those who are watching, clue at the convenient. I love that. That was good. Thomas is one of those guys, by the way, where you go to a tournament, he hands you his army list, and it is on a thick, beautiful piece of paper. Professionally printed with like a border and some artwork that he did as a watermark, slightly transformed and tinted in the background, but to the top left, while his army list is to the right. It's even scented. If you want to know what it feels like, watch American Psycho.
Scented?
It is. It's literally scented.
I write a really nice list, and I try to keep it all on a single page.
Watch American Psycho. Okay, and watch the scene in American Psycho where Christian Bale gets the business card.
Yeah.
And he's just having a meltdown / orgasm at the same time. He doesn't know what to do. He's already decided this guy's dying. Spoiler, by the way. And that's basically your feeling at the table when playing Thomas, and you get his army list, and you just look at him. You look at him in the eyes, and you're just like, "Fuck you."
I'm a nice guy.
I think in the past, I think, Thomas, you and I have played about 5 times over the years, and I think our total game time is about an hour and a half over those 5 games.
Like, what are you doing? Like, do whatever you want, dude. I trust you, Brad. I don't care.
Let's just do stuff. Okay, whatever. I'm kind of hungry. I would like a drink. Bring it in.
You drinking wine? All right, I'll have some of your wine. Let's go.
Let's do this.
There's no point. I mean, it's like, there's no point fighting all this stuff. I try to make it as simple and easy from my opponent's standpoint, because I don't like to. I don't like to bamboozle. I already play really fast and fast and aggressive, so that a lot of times will cause me like, whoa. I'm like, there's no spending time. I've played this game too many times. We're going to play the mission and we'll go this. So that's why our games with Brad is like, all right, you killed a bunch of stuff. Okay, I don't think I can win.
Let's do this. Goodbye.
And then I played Daniel once, a long time ago.
Yes.
Played with the very
16 at the Adepticon.
Yeah, the very beginnings of Flying Circus. I think I was the first one brought a Flying Circus around. And you got really mad at a bloodthirster who lived way too long.
You know why, right? Because he was yoked.
I think I was more upset with the fact that I didn't know what your army did. It was just like, whatever.
No one, like, this is the first time, like, so they put a new demon, or like everything is random, and I was like, you can play a bunch of demon princes that fly around. I'm like, this is gonna be fun. And so I just roll randomly every game, and I have all these cards, and it's like, what did you just do? I'm like, you can't kill that guy. That guy's gonna be a pain in the ass. That guy shoots dildos at you. This one does this one and has this spell. You're like, what just happened? And then it's just this flying monstrosity of combos, and you're like, and you're playing Necrons like, this is bizarre, and I'm just in your face.
Love it.
With plague bearers running around.
Love it.
I love the old cast list, because you had people would bring whiteboards to list everything that was going on with everyone. Let me show you the lineup here.
You need like a whiteboard.
Is that a wine list? No, that is the list of psychics I have, and warlord traits, and special powers, and everything else.
We're trying to get a 5 here. I'm rolling on invisibility. Oh, I've got a 3, got a 2, got a 1. There, 1. 5. There we go. I got it there. And invisibility. This guy has invisibility, by the way. I miss those days. Those are the best.
Exactly, Tom. Yeah, you absolutely have to help Daniel after every tournament. with one bottle of wine too many. Actually, my favorite drunk Daniels, one of my favorites, is still in Greece. Everyone shows up and it's just running. It's literally the middle of the afternoon. And Daniel gets out of the car and just basically forward rolls out of the cab. And I'm like, how is everybody fine? And Daniel's the only person drunk. They're
Tuck and dive.
Daniel, every time anybody got a drink, Daniel ordered a bottle of wine for himself. So we all had a beer, and he had a full bottle of wine.
You did not have a beer. This story's a lie. There's no world where
I'm
you
saying
had a beer.
the other guys are telling me what happened. They were at the
okay.
pool doing this.
Okay.
So every time they'd get around, he'd get a bottle of wine. They would get one beer. So,
and no one else was drinking wine.
Everybody's fine, and Daniel is obliterated.
Yeah, the Swedes don't really drink wine that much. There's a couple of you guys that drink wine, but mostly you guys drink beer. You guys like beer more and hard alcohol. Brad's a wine Dr.
Not me,
Pepper guy.
no. I drink wine.
We know that. We know that you drink.
That
was the story. We just told it.
That vodka with licorice in it. Woo! That burned my mouth and it ended up 1 year.
That's Brad's favorite.
I do. I love that. That should be illegal.
I was like,
I drank a shot of that and went, oh no, this is going to be terrible. This is why you just gave me candy. Like, what is going on here? Dude, I actually like the first Daniel trying to explain. I think it was the second year at Henrik's house, and you're like going to make a run, and we're like, oh, I thought we had X amount of bottles, and you like kind of looked around to see who was looking. You just went, you and Brittany drank all of those with me last night, so we need more. I'm like, well, good luck.
All of the bottles were gone. The best part was Daniel giving a tour of his house in pitch black. That was still the best part. Anyways, Thomas, it was great having you on today. We're going to give you the last word, other than Brad saying some random stuff about playing by intent later. But what else did you want to mention before we go off? Do you want to plug anything or talk about anything in particular?
Let's see, nothing. I mean, like I said, we're hopefully next year we'll run our event in Austin. It is not on ATC this time, so that's good. So please, people, come to Austin, Texas, have some barbecue and some beer.
Awesome. Are you talking about War Games Con or a different event?
This is the Bowl's open. So
the Bowl's open.
Con's a different one.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought. I just wanted to make sure we clarify. So the Bowl's open. So yeah, Austin, Texas, probably next year. All right.
Yep.
Well, thanks again.